And away we go. We are live from the Cincy Light Studios right here at BearcatJournal.com as the Bearcats pick up win number 2 on the season, 83-56 over Morehead State. This show, as always, brought to you by our good friends at Mio's Pizza. If you're on campus getting ready to go to the game, maybe tomorrow, getting ready to go to football or any of the basketball games coming up here over the winter months, stop by, see our good friends at Mio's, get some great pizza, great appetizers. I love the steak hoagies, drink specials, you name it. Mio's will get you taken care of. They are on Short Vine, right across, basically straight across from the arena. So stop by, see our good friends at Mio's, have some cold beverages, have some delicious food, and get ready for the Bearcats. Hi, Aaron.
Yo.
How's it going?
It's been a week.
I hear that. I'm ready to go to bed already because I have to get up and get ready to go straight back to football. I know you got to get up and drive from Athens. They don't think of us when they schedule these basketball games, Aaron.
I may not be able to make it tomorrow.
Okay.
The rash on the child's backside has not gotten better.
Now, stay home, take care of the family. That's more important, my friend. We let some people get in here as we get the tweets out, get everything ready to go.
Crowd was something tonight, according to the broadcast.
It was a weird vibe, kind of. Like there was never like that. One, there was never any really like doubt that the game was going to be a blowout. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
pretty quickly it was clear Morehead State was, like if you go back to Pine Bluff, like for the first like 5 or 6 minutes, like they hung around a little bit. They traded jabs. The first segment of this game, Aziz to Dylan for a dunk, or Seamas to Dylan Mitchell for a dunk, and then Seamas with a couple lobs to Aziz. And it was blatantly clear, like this was not going to be close in any way, shape, or form. So I think that impacts the crowd some. Like, it was 10-3. And it just never was a game that had a lot of like energy around it.
Yeah, the announcer said you could hear a pin drop at one point. It's like halfway through the first half, and they're saying things like that. I'm just like,
it was like everybody was just there to like casually watch a basketball game, Aaron. like there wasn't anything that like, you know what I mean? Like there was nothing that really revved everybody up that like, that they needed to get a big stop or they, the crowd gets into it. Like that just didn't really happen tonight. It was very, very workmanlike. I guess we'll go ahead and get to this. Bearcat 101, if I can shut down any rumor of Dan partially tearing his meniscus. They don't know yet. The MRI, I believe, is coming early next week, which is what Wes was referencing in his postgame, saying we probably won't have a full grasp on things until early in the week next week. So, like, if they haven't done the MRI, like, nobody knows anything. Everybody is guessing and speculating. The vibe I got was it's not like he'll be back next Friday. I think it's going to be a little bit. Not a long bit, but I don't think it's just like we're resting him tonight, but he could have played. I think he's probably going to take a little bit. That's just the vibe I got. But that's until you get the MRI, that's impossible to know. So, hopefully they take a look at it on Monday and everything's fine. And he's back sooner than later. But it doesn't. I don't get the sense that it's anything that like, we're going to be waiting for him when Big 12 play rolls around. Like I don't get that vibe, but I didn't get the vibe of like with Day-Day, it feels like he probably could play right now, but they're just being extra cautious because it is with Day-Day, it's a foot, and those things can be tricky in terms of lingering and re-aggravating. So, I think Day-Day could potentially go right now. And Wes even said, like, we'll start to up the intensity of what he's doing in the week off. And then Day-Day could be on track to be back out there as early as next week. So why did they not get an MRI between Tuesday and now? I don't know, Andrew. I don't work in that department, and doctors don't like to tell you that stuff. I don't know. I know that the thing is, like, the vibe I got from it, the story was he came in Tuesday and it was a little swollen. And I don't think, like, I think they just, like, maybe he bumped knees, or I think Keegan said he saw him at the end of the game or like middle of the second half or whatever, kind of like flexing it a little bit. And maybe it was at that point that it happened, but I don't think anybody kind of thought it was like, oh no, like something's really wrong. Like, it's sports, high level sports, man. These guys get bumps and nicks and dings, and like if you were MRIing every time somebody was like, my ankle doesn't feel right, like you'd have 25 guys on the football team the day after every game just getting MRIs. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't think there's anything nefarious to look into it. I just think that initially they weren't really stressing it, and then maybe it just wasn't getting better. You try to get him ready for shoot around this morning, and all right, well, maybe this is something that's, we got to take a little bit closer look at. So I think that's what it is. I think they didn't think it was anything like a big deal, and then as it lingers a couple days, then okay, we probably need to get this thing MRI'd and checked out. So that's the fun world of speculation that we live in situations like these, where a guy doesn't play and they don't have any definitive answers yet as to why he doesn't play. So then the rumors get wild and spread like wildfire on social media. So it might be, I don't know. Like, I just don't, I don't know how you can know when they haven't really actually gone in and taken a look at it. So Brandon, how much fun is this time of year? Basketball and football going on, both playing meaningful games. It is a lot of fun. It is also exhausting. And then I am an idiot and decide, like, okay, well, let's make things harder and then do radio Wednesday and Thursday on the only days that I potentially could have, like, relaxed a little bit. But they tricked me with radio, Aaron. They ask you to do that stuff like 5-6 weeks in advance. And you don't really think, oh, hey, look, I probably shouldn't do that on the only possible potential days that I could get off, but I do it anyway.
Look, they make calendars for a reason. You could just put the games in your calendar and look at your calendar on what days you have games.
Like 6 weeks in advance, like the middle of October.
Put the whole season in. The season is announced well in advance. That's a you problem.
Present me creates a lot of problems for future me.
You have a 14-year-old assistant. Have her put that shit in your calendar.
That would require her actually working. But yeah, I will say this. You can tell just by watching tonight, like, the impact that Dan has carved out, like the energy that he provides, his activity on the glass. Like, Dylan kind of hit on it in the post game. Like, he's everywhere. Like he's just like Tasmanian devil. Like he just spins around in a circle and he's everywhere at all times.
And he's even got his legs underneath him now. So
right, he's not a baby deer anymore. Aaron, you're a genius. Let's not get carried away, Ryan.
Calendar. A pre-installed app.
I have the calendar app. I just don't put the.
It comes on every phone.
I know. I live week by week, so like every week on like Sunday, I'm like, all right, what does this week look like? And then I go, oh crap, I overscheduled myself. I overbooked myself again. But that's part of the fun of being me. I like things to be a surprise, Aaron. Surprise! No days off this week.
Unreal.
But back to the game. Aaron, you have to be thrilled. The lobs look great.
Yeah,
they're Lob City, baby.
You did everything but ask Aziz. Are you enjoying no more shitty lobs? Because it would probably be frowned upon to use the term shitty lobs. But no, the lobs look great. Aziz is doing what Aziz should be doing. What the bill that we were sold on Aziz is coming to fruition.
It could have came to fruition last year, but the lobs were bad. Like it wasn't Aziz's fault.
Correct.
Like I almost cracked a joke when they asked, like, is there any lob you can't get? And Dylan was like, no, there's no lob he can't get. And I almost was like, you weren't here last year.
Exactly. We were all thinking it.
You weren't here last year, sir. I know now it seems like there's no lob that Aziz can't get. But if you were here a year ago, there was a couple times Aziz did this and watched it fly over his head. Like not even close.
He's like 8'2" out there and about 9'4" when he's jumping. So
yeah. What's up, Natty Ron? Really liked what I saw from Betsy today, driving to the rim and look comfortable. We'll get to him. Nice to see CJ in the rotation. We'll get to him. More bench players tonight. Yeah. Day and Dan didn't play. So that's the one thing about depth, Aaron. It's great. And then a couple guys go down, and all of a sudden, like you're not as deep as you thought you were.
This is not where ideally you want to be in game 2, but if it's going to be at any point in the season, you want it to be in game 2. And this is, I guess, why you schedule the way that you schedule instead of looking around at some other Big 12 games that have happened, and you're okay with Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Morehead State.
The difficult ones are coming. Like it's coming. It's not here yet, but it's coming. So yeah, it allows you to work through, and it does allow you to get a lot of guys. If you talk about getting everybody up to speed, if you add, Dan's going to play 25 minutes tonight. If Day was healthy, Day's going to play 17, 18, 20 minutes tonight. Sure. So you take 45 minutes and subtract that up and down the list from guys that did play, and you're looking at guys that didn't get in or, checked in with 3 minutes left and the game already kind of decided. So you're the good news is you're getting some actual run for your whole bench early in the season, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, when
the
you're
bench needs this experience. I agree, Ron.
You're looking at minutes. Rayvon Griffith, 9 minutes, not much of a difference from the first game, but CJ Frederick getting 21 as you're getting him up to speed from missing a half a season last year and getting, real game back under his feet. That's great to get him 21 minutes. Josh Reed, 12 minutes. He saw a little bit extra time because he was doing some of the hustle plays that it didn't seem that anybody on the team was really doing, despite having a not so great offensive night again. You saw Zealot come in at the end there. Zella, sorry. the announcers on the telecast were not getting that one right yet either. That one's still a learning curve. It's French. It's real weird. I don't know. I think Page getting 17 is about where he would have been at. Outside of that, Connor Hickman getting 25. He's not going to be getting 25 if you have everybody up where they're at. Well, maybe he is getting 25, but it might come at the cost of some other guys' minutes who did get extra minutes. But Coach mentioned in his post game that he's probably playing more, being asked to do more than what they want him to be doing. So Connor Hickman, he's happy that they're going to have a day off tomorrow and he's going to get some much needed rest.
Well, think about it. He is now, with Dan out, he is now the starting 2.
Correct.
And the backup 1.
Correct.
So you're going to be asked to do a lot, especially in practice. Like, you're running with the 1s as the starter and also running with the 2s as the second point guard.
Probably doing more in practice than really anybody else, because nobody else is kind of doing that dual role like that at this point. So I don't. He also mentioned maybe Aziz is getting some extra minutes than he would have. It sounded like he likes that Aziz is getting these extra minutes, but it's not necessarily where he wanted him to be already.
Well, I think 22 is about right for Aziz.
I agree, but the way he talked about Aziz, it sounds like he wants him to have this many minutes, but he doesn't sound like Aziz's conditioning is quite ready for 22 minutes yet.
No, I think where he's talking about there, and like he said, and I think Aziz is fine in those like 4 or 5 minute bursts, but Wes is talking about having him ready for those like 7, 8 minute bursts, like where you're playing like 2 media timeouts. Yeah, you're playing 2 segments, and instead he's playing 1 segment and getting to the middle of the second segment and like hand on his knees, like everybody clap your hands. So that's kind of I think where he's at with that is just that, like needing to leave him out there a little longer so he builds up that, like, because when you get to the Big 12 and you're going to be in these big games, he's going to need to play those 2 segment, like, and then AP comes in for a segment and then he goes back in for multiple, like that's kind of what you're going to need from him. So you got to get him built up to it.
Well, and I would say that that's probably one of the reasons that they struggled a little bit on some of the rebounding. When you're only getting 5 offensive rebounds is insane for this team.
Well, they did make 60% of their shots.
Sure, but still 5 offensive rebounds is insane, especially giving up 30 rebounds to Morehead State.
Yes, I agree. The bigger problem was Morehead State having 11 offensive rebounds. Like that was the defensive glass is where I kind of noticed Dan missing a little bit more, because again, go back to Dylan's so good. Like he hits on all the things that I like have in my brain to talk about. He talks about them. Where Dan is not only getting rebounds, but he's just so active that he's tipping balls out or like, keeping balls alive that somebody else grabs the rebound. So that's kind of like the impact of Dan. I think you're going to have to, for however long he's out, you're going to have to adjust, because he is such a great rebounder, because he's the Tasmanian devil. He's everywhere.
Yeah. I don't know, but with and also with Hickman, Coach mentioned that 1 of 5 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, missed the only free throw he had. He mentioned that when Hickman's not being asked to do all of these things or has gotten comfortable in that role, one or the other, maybe then you see some improvement on some of those numbers. But right now he's doing things that aren't on the stat sheet. He's
being asked to do a lot.
That block he had, and unfortunately, of course, Tyler Betsy gets the foul on the second block, but that block he had on the fast break was amazing.
It was very good. It was very good. He needs a signature, like, when he does something like that, like go to the comb over. Like,
I I don't know that he does. I think he is. I don't know. He's going to be fun.
Yeah. On the bright side, good to see guys get some work. I don't think there's like a dark side, really, Danko Joe. Welcome in. It's game 2. There's work to do. I still like. I think we all like where they are. I mean, the thing is, like, Morehead State tried to slow that game down. Wow.
Their center was crazy, by the way, with his too short.
You know who that is, right?
Who?
Deontay Miles.
I know it was Deontay Miles. I don't know who he is.
He was at X for 2 years, 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where that's like he's trying, like he's in his brain, he's in the crosstown shootout.
I take anything that's X related, and after that game is over, I flush it.
I just saw something that shocked me.
Did North Colorado take the lead again against Colorado? Because
I'm talking about the game tonight.
Okay.
Guess what their points per possession were?
Well, I can see it, so I was immediately drawn to it, but go on.
That's a big number. A big number. 1.43 points per possession. Their scoring percentage was 67.2%. They were 13 of 16 on layups and 8 of 8 on dunks. Like that's
we said that this team was going to be much improved. I don't know that we realized it was going to be 21 of 24 improved, but I'll take it. Anything in the paint like that. I mean, 24 of 24 is nice. 21 of 24. Sorry.
That's 1.43 points per possession is a large number.
And they weren't all easy. You saw Arlington Page taking the reverses. He had several reverses.
That's what Jeff's talking about. The throw under the hoop several times in the first half. Great to see better finishes than Vic last year.
Yeah, you saw that. You saw Simas give up the dunk and, settle for the fast break layup that everybody loves to see when you got a guy that tall. What are you doing?
That's on brand for him. That is his game. He is under the rim.
David DeJulius, it made sense. Simas Lukosius, it doesn't make sense.
I think Simas understands his scouting report that there is a real possibility he could try to get up there and miss.
Get hung?
I think he understands. I'm just going to I'll take the 2.
But yeah, they weren't all gimmies. They weren't all easy.
No, Dylan had a couple great finishes.
Simas had one where he stepped through several defenders to make the layup. Jizzel had one that he had to really work for. I mean, and ended up flying all the way out to the 3-point line on the floor after the fact. So, I mean, they're certainly doing some things down there in and around the paint.
I mean, this sums it all up for you, Aaron. Jizzel, 6 for 10. Dylan, 7 for 7. Simas, 6 for 7. Aziz, 5 for 6. Arrington Page, 3 for 4. Like
I'll even take the Tyler Betsy 3 of 7 because it seemed like he was working in rhythm. It just seemed like he was just trying to find that groove. But the minutes he's getting right now are so valuable for later in the season.
His shot is so good. Like, it is so good. And I worry about freshmen, and he'll have his ups and downs as the season goes on.
He did tonight, where there was a ball going out of bounds that he probably should have gone for, and him and Jizzel had a miscommunication, and it goes out. Where if that's a really important possession, it wasn't tonight, but had it been in a really important moment in a Big 12 game, now you've had that learning moment, and I need to over communicate in these types of situations. And Coach kind of talked about how he is so smart and learns from these types of, specifically like these types of situations where he has errors, and that's going to play out later in the season, I think.
I'm talking specifically about from 3. Generally, freshmen do not shoot a high clip from 3 because it's just the game is so much faster. Even if they're a good shooter, like they get sped up a little bit, and we'll see some of that as the season goes on and the competition gets tougher and the defenses get better. But his shot is so clean that it feels like it's going in straight out of his hand. Like it's never really a shot where like you can see it missing, like coming out of his hand, like, oh, that's off left. Oh, that's off right. Like it might not go in, but it is online. It is pure coming out of his hand. So that's what I was. Yes, the other stuff, he's still got a lot of things to like experience and learn and game situations, and that's a freshman. But generally, freshmen don't shoot it well because it's a lot different than shooting in high school. But he seems to have a pretty calm, like he doesn't get sped up.
Well, there's plenty of big games to find out if that's going to remain the case or if he will start to have some of the freshman type looks. So we'll certainly keep our pulse. Yeah, we'll keep our pulse on young Tyler Betsy. But you love. But I
like what I'm saying is correct. I like what I'm seeing from him in game 1 and 2. You love
the minutes that he's seen. Again, these are especially because of the early injuries or maybe even just precaution, especially in Day-Day's case. You're getting to log some extra minutes that you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Seamoss, 14 points, 6 of 7, made both of his threes, 6 assists, 3 of them, like I mentioned, right in that first segment. Came out playing facilitator and was outstanding in ball screen action with the bigs. He's what you want from like your senior kind of bucket getting wing. Nothing seems to speed him up.
Last season we talked about how we needed to have a go-to guy for a majority of the season, and Seamoss late in the season evolved as that go-to guy. And since last season, despite adding some major pieces, he has continued to be that go-to guy.
Yeah. NKU called us a rivalry. They can say whatever they want. Like, like
on what podcast? Where can I find that one?
Right. I mean, come on. They probably put it in like, rivalry game with Cincinnati at Truzit Arena or whatever the hell it is. Okay. Whatever. Twitter. Wow.
People say a lot of things on Twitter. Chad alone says a lot of things on Twitter.
Not anymore. That was the old me. Now I just troll X fans.
What are you talking about?
I troll Xavier fans. That's it. That's my only fun on Twitter. UC's been running a soft 1-2-2 full court defense that is new this year. Now they've ran it in the past. Wish they'd try it more with our athletes to generate more turnovers. I think right now it's just to slow teams down so they're not getting into their offense as quick as they would like. Maybe you'll see them turn the heat up. Well, got to remember, Jeff, their guy that would be the best in that press to pressure is Day-Day Thomas, and he's not there. And now Dan's out as well. So that's going to impact, telling them to unleash the dogs, if you will.
I will say I noticed in the first half, Jizzel James was playing screen defense pretty well. There was one segment in particular where they tried to screen him. I think in one possession, they tried maybe 4 times, and he was over and under and all around on the way to grandmother's house, I guess he went. But he much improved on that screen defense from last season.
He was over the river and through the woods.
You saw where I was going with that. I'm around kids all day. This is what I do. I don't know what to tell you. It's my point of reference for a lot of things right now.
And plus, you're out in the middle of nowhere. Like, you couldn't go be around adults if you wanted to.
I know.
If you're going to take a 30-minute break, you literally just have to go like sit in your car, turn the radio on.
That's a trip to Walmart.
But the kids are with you if you're going to Walmart.
Yeah, but that's a nap.
Who else you want to talk about? Jizzel, 14 points, 6 of 10 from the floor, 2 of 3 from 3. Only 1 rebound, only 2 assists, but 1 turnover. How about this? 4 turnovers on the night. That's part of how you get to 1.43 points per possession. Is only turning it over 4 times.
Didn't look like it was going to be a good shooting night for Jizzel early on, and then all of a sudden he turned it on and he did not miss for I don't know if he missed the rest of the night at that point.
Sometimes it's just a matter of seeing that first one go in. I think he was the second half, he was 5 of 5 for 12 points and made both threes. Sometimes you got to see that first one. I thought he was a little strong he had like a kind of a floater and then like a mid-range shot that looked like he was a little long on both of them. And then I think early in the second half, he had like a kind of a layup little like look that you see that ball go through the basket and all of a sudden your confidence starts skyrocketing.
Well, and I've wondered at some points during these first 2 games how much he feels like he's shouldering as the point guard and maybe trying a little too hard because Day-Day's been out. And of course you have Connor Hickman there, but I think he's probably shouldering a little bit more than he should or than he needs to.
Sure. That's fair.
So I think it felt like to me anyway in that second half, regardless of what the assist numbers were, it just felt like he kind of got into his groove and was
he did.
In his bag, feeling himself, and that's what I want to see. I mean, the numbers have been there. I'm not worried about that, both in this first game and in the second game here, but it felt different watching it in that second half than it did
either the first game or the first half today.
Yeah,
like through the first 3 halves, the second half was kind of what we're, and I think it's tough for fans, Aaron, because they just remember the NIT last year. And you just expect, well, he's going to pick up and
why isn't he scoring 25? Yeah.
Yeah. Why, like, where are the 25 points from Jizzel that we expected when he became a starter last year? He's ramping up. Like, that's a big part of it. And look, if they had a high major game tonight or next week, like I think you would see him be a little bit more assertive, but I think he's getting his legs under him. I was at that nightmare game 2 years ago as well. We don't talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. They scored 11 points in the second half.
1 game does not a rivalry make.
Right. What else you got, Aaron?
I want to talk about Arlington Page because I felt like that dude kind of, I don't want to call it a coming out party because it's Morehead State, right?
Sure.
But I think that he showed us tonight a little bit of what we can expect to see over, and there were highs and lows for him tonight as well. But I just felt like the highs were higher than I anticipated already, I guess. Because I've been cautiously optimistic with Arlington Page because I know Coach talks glowingly about him, and that always worries me. But 13 points, 3 of 4 from the field, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. I don't know if anybody told him he was a Bearcat yet, but that's crazy talk. 2 offensive of the 5 offensive rebounds, 3 defensive. Had 1 of the 4 turnovers, but that's whatever. I'll take that. That's fine. The only thing that was a little concerning in that 17 minutes, he had 3 personal fouls, but I don't know. I thought that he was better than anything that we saw out of Jamil. I don't remember a game where I felt the way I did about Arlington Page tonight with Jamil Reynolds last year.
Yeah, I mean, look, AP has got a lot of upside, and it's just a matter of like him putting in the work to develop that upside because he moves. You're not supposed to be able to move like that at 6'10", 6'11". Like, you're not supposed to be able to get up and down the floor and have fluidity that he has. And he's just got to like continue building the consistency. And tonight was a good step in that direction.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to call it like I don't feel like I want to label him special yet or anything like that. But if he's your backup
No,
five,
he's got a ways to go.
I think that you're encouraged by what you saw out of your backup five and aren't nearly as concerned when Aziz is out of the game as you felt at times last season.
I think that's fair. I think that's more than fair. Goon Squad 2.0, Day Hickman, Ray Reed, Page. I don't know that that's the Goon Squad I would go with, but yeah, can center play be a weak spot for this team?
Sure.
I don't think so.
It can be.
Can it? Right. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think it will be.
I think it's a weak spot for this team if you have any type of injury to either one of those guys.
Well, sure. But that's every team, Aaron. Teams don't have just 3-4 centers hanging out on the bench. Like that's not college basketball anymore.
We got Zella, so we'll see what happens if he's logging more than garbage minute.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Halveen is he's wasn't
playing catch up. Yeah.
Well, up until this week, he wasn't like practicing to play games because they weren't sure if he was going to even be like, if he was.
He got cleared Monday. He got cleared Monday, right? Like right Sunday. Before the game.
Sunday.
Okay.
They told the players to practice on Sunday, so like it's going to take a little time to get him in practice, being a guy that's like in heavy rotation and doing all the things. Because when you're redshirting, when you're a freshman and you're redshirting, you spend a lot of time on the scout team. Like you spend a lot of time getting the other guys ready. And now he's going to be one of the guys that's being prepared to get ready. So that's a drastic change for a kid that's been here for 2 months? Been in America for 2 months. So it's going to take a little time to get him up to speed, but from what I've seen in practice, I like him. Like, I think he's active. I think he's got good hands. I think he really knows how to play basketball. So as they continue feeling more comfortable with him, I think he will be able to help. But look, like, Aziz tweaks his back again and misses 2 or 3 games. Like, that's not going to be a strength. You're going to have to play around the situation at the 5. You're going to probably have to play Dylan Mitchell some at the 5 and like do some things you don't want to do.
Right.
But like I said, that's ultimately, Aaron, that's like teams just aren't rostering 3-4 competent big men because they can go somewhere else and get paid if they're good, then sit on your bench and be your fourth, your break glass in case of emergency center. And we have to remember, like, Tyler McKinley was the guy that was going to play some 4 and some 5, and he's out for the season with an injury. I saw that today. I saw a video of, it was not good. It did not look good, but he's jogging. I was told today. So he's rehabbing well and starting to see the smile come back from Tyler, which he was kind of down for a couple of weeks, which obviously you blow out your knee in the first practice of your collegiate career, you're going to be pretty bummed. But
sure.
It's good to get an update on him. Ran into his brother during the game and said he's getting back to normal, getting back to being Tyler, which is good. Talked about Jizzel, Connor. Dylan was awesome. Just awesome. 14 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, no turnovers. I don't want him on the free throw line.
I liked his two-handed dunk in the first half better than his left hand off the left foot in the second half. Although it was nice. It just wasn't. I liked the thunder of the two-hand flush a little bit better.
That's fair.
He's fun. 9 rebounds. 3 assists, a steal.
Yeah,
the kid does
everything. Really good. He's gonna be really good.
I almost felt bad for Aziz that Dylan Mitchell was there next to him in the post-game presser, because Aziz, God love him, he's still speaking a second language, and he's working through that. But Dylan Mitchell did not want to let that dude talk. He even at one point said, "I'm gonna answer that for you."
Yeah, I got it. He likes the microphone. Like, that's a dude, I think, when his basketball career is over, with the right connections, he could be he's going
to talk himself into some situations where he never dreamed he would be, for sure.
Yeah. Big smile, great personality.
Yep.
We're gonna request. I think we're gonna have Dylan Mitchell at the table a lot after games this year.
I see no reason not to.
Right, and normally, Aaron, you'd having a guy multiple times, or we've used that guy a lot. Let's try to get somebody else in. If he plays well, and we no, let's get Dylan, because he's going to answer the question like he's doing a podcast reviewing the game. That's how he answers questions.
They've got a lot of big personalities on this team now, though, between him and Dan and Seamus.
Connor, who just came out we were joking around, but who's your least favorite Seamus? Who are you trying to dunk on next, Seamus? I'm 6'2" white with a comb over. Guys don't think I got bounced like that. There's a lot, and I think Jizzel's getting more comfortable. And
you didn't get to see this because you're there, but on the post-game interview with Kelsey Conway, she's interviewing him, and he tried to take the mic from her to answer the question, not once, but twice. He tried to do it twice. The second time, he's like, "Oh, I guess I'm really not supposed to do that." You could kind of see him working through it in his head.
Where she was like,
"Well, she didn't do it. She played it. She played it well, because she didn't make him look dumb or feel stupid or anything like that. She just continued to also hold it." And I think he realized, "Oh, I'm not supposed. We're not passing this back and forth."
Oh, yeah, these guys are going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I don't see really anything else. The rebounding stuff, they got to be better than that. You can't 30 to 30 even with Morehead State. That's not going to cut it. But again, like I said, a big part of that, one, is Dan, and two, they didn't miss shots. So it's difficult to be a good offensive rebounding team, like that being one of your identities, on a night where you shoot 60%.
I'm going to be a little nitpicky on two guys that we haven't talked about. Ray and Josh, 21 minutes between the two of them.
Neither of them played well.
Collectively, you were 1 of 6 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. You had 2 rebounds between the two of you. You had 3 assists between the two of you. You had 4 personal fouls between the two of you. 1 turnover, 1 block. That's your entire stat line. For 21 minutes, you can't do that. You got to be better. One of you has to be better. And between the two of them, that was real bad.
No, I didn't. I thought Josh was still pretty good defensively.
Defensively, sure. Things that fill the stat lines, though.
He just hasn't. I'm not seeing him take that step offensively that we talked about in the offseason, where he's got the ball and he's got a bigger body, a bigger frame, where he can do some of the things that Dylan is doing, like backing his guy down and being a threat offensively. He still looks like he's hesitant. He's not assertive 100%. When he's doing that.
And he did make a couple moves to try and get to the rim. Like you saw, which is more than we saw last season, more often than not. Like you saw some aggressive nature out of him that I was not accustomed to seeing. I was like, "Oh, Josh, you're going to do it." And he didn't finish. He couldn't finish when he got down around the rim. He got scared, or the lane clogged up.
He's not confident. He's not confident.
It was almost like they knew he was going to do that, so he the lane clogged up and he didn't have he made the right move by kicking it out because it just wasn't there. But if you're going to do it, you got to figure out you're going to do it before you're just down there and have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I agree. Like I did like to see him showing off the first part, which is taking the ball off the dribble. And Josh is a strong kid. Like he's a big, strong kid now.
He should be. He's been in the Monster Factory for several years. This isn't his first. He's not a freshman.
So he needs to use it to his advantage and finish and be a little bit more confident when he gets into those positions. Like Dylan, perfect example. A couple times tonight, he got into those positions, put the ball in the glass, and got a bucket. Josh is not yet comfortable in that second part of it where he gets the ball, goes up strong with it, gets it off the glass, and turns it into 2 points.
He's got to find some more moves. I don't know if he just doesn't have it in his arsenal yet, or if he just hasn't developed some of those extra moves, or the finding a way to get to the rim.
Yeah. He's at least showing some progress in wanting to do it, because last year he didn't want to do it. It was wide open three or catch it and hot potato that shit quickly out of his hands. And so hopefully this is the start of that progression.
And as for Ray, I think tonight, as opposed to game one, tonight, those 9 minutes were completely forgettable.
Yeah. I will, like, this is the problem with the side spin he puts on his shot. There is zero margin for error. It is either a swish or a miss. Like, he is not getting a friendly bounce. Like, because of the way the ball spins, it is either going in or it's coming out. It's coming out hot. So that's the concern when you have that cross spin on your jump shot, because when you release it properly and it's got backspin, it'll come off the rim soft, and you can get it to go up and down and come back in. That side spin, it hits the rim and boom.
Outside of that, just kind of glossing over the game as a whole, I liked what Dylan Mitchell had to say after the game, where he talked about how they have to more or less stay with their foot on the gas an entire game and not just have a half where they hold a team to 19 points and then 37, I think it was in the second half. It's the same team both ways. So you got,
I mean, the numbers were still good. I think the game was a little bit more. I mean, what they shot 40% in the second half, so they did let them shoot it a little better. They were only 2 of 6 from 3, so they weren't. The problem probably in the second half from the first half is, and this is exactly it. They were 1 of 2. Morehead State was 1 of 2 from the free throw line in the first half. Cincinnati only fouled 3 times in the first half. They fouled 11 times in the second half, and Morehead State was 11 of 16 from the free throw line, including 2 Brent Young soul crushers in the final seconds.
Gambling's a hell of a drug.
Keegan was joking with him, like, middle of the first half, he was like, it's not fun sitting next to Brent until the final 4 minutes of the game. In these games. But did you see it was both? So the 2 free throws, he had 28.5, I think. The 2 free throws cut it to 27. And then the over under was 138.5, and they had 138. It hit 138.
Don't bet on buy games. What are you doing? What are you doing?
He was probably feeling pretty good after Monday when they were a 38-point favorite and they won by 54. He's probably feeling pretty good about things.
He's always feeling good about things when it comes to the Bearcats until the final.
I mean, on the bright side, at least you didn't play a team 360 out of 364 in Ken Palm and give up 80 points.
The Big 12 was a mess tonight. A mess.
Was it?
Have
Did it
you
look
not
like
seen
the
the
Big East? No, I haven't really. I haven't really looked
got
at anything.
I got it right here. We're in overtime. Apparently, currently, North Colorado and Colorado are in overtime. 76s.
Colorado's bad. Colorado's bad.
Sure.
They lost like their whole team. Like they two guys to the NBA, I think. Like they are not good.
Kansas beat North Carolina. UCF beat Purdue FW. I'm assuming.
What did I tell you about that one? I said watch. They're gonna beat Texas A&M and then play with their food against Purdue Fort Wayne.
Beat them by 7. West Virginia beat Massachusetts by 6. Arizona State beat Santa Clara by 7.
Arizona State's also bad.
TCU beat Florida Gulf Coast by 16. It was closer than that score is indicative of. And BYU beat UC Riverside by 6. Ooh, what are we doing?
Yeah, the two teams at the bottom of the league that could be a problem in terms of like weighing down the metrics are Colorado and Arizona State. They are not going to be quality.
I will take 27-point win without any question over any of that.
Yeah. 1.43 points per possession.
Yeah, fine by me.
Slow start for the conference, but look, all of that stuff is noise. Kansas beats North Carolina, although they pissed away a 20-point lead and they were down by 3 in the final segment, and then came back to get the victory.
Dub to dub, and
that win, and then we'll see tomorrow. 2 big ones tomorrow. Although, did you see the Auburn thing?
Oh, that they turned the plane around? Yeah. They turned the plane around because of what they're calling horseplay.
No, somebody got the pilot log, and the pilot was like, "There's a basketball team fighting on the plane."
It was in the report that was coming out initially from Jeff Goodman.
Horseplay. Yeah,
it was horseplay.
Goodman said it. Yeah, horseplay on the plane. They were 45 minutes into the flight. Bruce Pearl was sitting in the front seat of the plane. We will turn this plane around right now.
And he did.
Don't make me come back there. I will turn this plane around right now.
End your precious little field trip.
They had a fight on the plane. I've never ever heard of that. The plane had to turn around and go back to Auburn, Alabama, and land and like calm things down because there was a fight on the plane. I've heard of snakes on a plane.
Sure.
I have not heard of a basketball team getting into a brawl on the plane on the way to a game.
Absolutely.
Horseplay, Jeff Goodman. What?
Because that's probably the only word that they told him he could use. That's the only thing they reported until the other stuff came out. When the kids are calling their parents, telling them, "Hey, yeah, we just had to come back." You remember when we went to Texas that one year? Yeah, the same thing just happened. Didn't get to go to Six Flags, Dad.
I will turn this plane around right now.
Crazy.
I'm going to bed. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Enjoy your weekend. Back at it tomorrow. Bearcats, Mountaineers, nip at noon. Aaron and I will be here post-game to talk about it. That's the Aftermath, live from the Cincy Light Studios, brought to you by Mio's Pizza, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!